So what is Crystal Fidelity and can it actually improve our prints? Well, hello, welcome to this Fotospeed video with me, Tim Jones. Today what we're going to be looking at is the Canon professional print and layout software. So apologies for any Epson users out there. We are going to be concentrating mainly on the Canon printers and also the Canon software that comes with those printers today. And it's a little bit of an experiment that kind of came about by filming with one of our photographers, Jack Lodge, who's an amazing Fotospeed ambassador and a fabulous photographer. And I've got a couple of his prints actually on the table here. He's been very kind to let me print off some of these pictures at A2 and compare between the different printing options we have as well, to see if Canon's speak about this Crystal Fidelity actually improves the print if you are using a Canon camera to shoot your images. Now, before we get started though and explain what Crystal Fidelity is and how it can improve your images or not, but before we get started though, please don't forget to subscribe to the Fotospeed YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. So don't forget also to download the Fotospeed Art of Printing, which is the free ebook from us here at Fotospeed, and it'll give you a good kind of rounding in everything you want to do along your printing journey. And you can just download that from photospeed.com. You can also sign up to our newsletter as well there. That gives you exclusive discounts and all the news from us here at Fotospeed. So let's have a look at Canon's Crystal Fidelity and does it make any difference? So let me explain briefly, before we start looking at some prints and actually seeing if we can see any difference between them, let me talk about what Crystal Fidelity is or what Canon say it is. Now, Crystal Fidelity is there to improve your print. Now, it only applies if you're printing through Canon's own software, the professional print and layout. It also only applies if you're using a Canon printer as well from the Pro series, like the Pro 1000, Pro 300, etc. Or if you're going bigger, the 2100, 4100, 6100, etc. So also you need to use a Canon camera as well. Now this is kind of limited to the newer models. So anything kind of, Jack shot these on the R5, which is supported, but most of the EOS digital cameras are supported. I would say anything from a EOS 5D Mark IV up kind of range, any of the mirrorless cameras, all supported with it. And what it will basically do is it is there to enhance your image. Canon say that when you click print, so there's a little bit of loss in the data as it's sent to your printer. Now Canon say that this can be noticed, so they allow for this. They add a little bit more sharpening to the image and kind of trying to stop that data from escaping, so they say. Also, they allow for lenses as well, so lens detection and things. So there's going to be a fall off on certain pieces of glass and things like that. So when you're printing using a Canon digital camera with the appropriate EOS lens on there, the software knows that and it will allow for that in the picture as well. Now Lightroom has this in kind of, you can select the lens profile and correction and things, but I think Canon just go a little bit further. And it's all to do with sharpening and detail. So they add a very finite amount of sharpening in here. Also, color reproduction as well they allow for. So they say also there's going to be a little bit of fall off between the computer and the printer, but also from the memory card to the computer, etc. as well. So they add in a little bit more contrast. So therefore things become a little bit more punchy, a little bit sharper, a little bit crisper. So this video kind of came about because I was doing some filming with Jack Lodge last week and we were talking about doing some live edits and things like that that will be coming out in the following weeks. And it basically came about because we printed off one picture through Lightroom, and Jack said, oh, that's just a little bit flat. It's on the same paper that I use, and it was this forest picture here, actually, of the bluebells and things. So we said, okay, then what's different? And we started reading a little bit more about this sharpening and this Crystal Fidelity Canon talk about. So we thought it'd make a really nice or an interesting video for everyone out there, hopefully, to talk about if it actually improves things and if it is actually a thing, or is it just a little bit of marketing speak? Now, so what I've done is I've printed one off straight through Lightroom. So this one here, I've got here on the right-hand side, is printed just straight from Lightroom with a custom profile. It's printed on our platinum etching paper. And really, this is the print we use for the video. If you're coming back and watching this and Jack's video has already come out, this was the print we actually used in that video. And it's pretty good. It's lovely and sharp. It's got lovely depth and detail. It's printed on platinum etching, and it just picks out everything really, really nicely. So before I started filming today, I printed another one of these off, and I printed another one off using the Canon professional print and layout software that you can download from their website. Using the same profile, exactly the same settings, tried to get the borders matching up as much as I could, and they're pretty much there. And I wondered if I could see any difference. And I have to say, honestly, I do believe the Canon software, the professional print and layout with the Crystal Fidelity, is very slightly sharper. However, it has taken me about half an hour to scour this, to actually look at the definition and look at the sharpening in it. It is so subtle, but it's that subtleness that could make all the difference. I think in a picture like this that's quite busy and there's lots going on, I would argue that it's still an amazing picture printed through Lightroom, and it's still an amazing picture printed through the professional print and layout. Is it slightly sharper? Possibly, but I wouldn't really notice. It's taken me a long time to actually have a look at the details, say down here a little bit, just to kind of think about it and kind of bring out that detail a little bit. And these are side by side. In the real world, they're gonna look pretty much identical. If you sit back a little bit and have a look at them, they are gonna look identical. If you put them underneath a magnifying glass, then you will probably start to see a difference in them. So it does have an effect. So if you do have a Canon camera and a Canon printer from the Pros range, then it probably is worth downloading a professional print and layout and just having a look and seeing if you can see any difference. Like I said, it is so minute. 9 times out of 10, I think you probably wouldn't see it, to be honest. It's so subtle. Now, I did print another picture, because this was quite a busy one, like I said. So it's a bit of an easy place to hide. So I printed another one of Jack's pictures, and this was one of the shots he did up in Scotland. Now, put them side by side so we can have a look. Now, it's a bit of a reflection, absolutely stunning shot. I'm not too sure how he gets these shots, to be honest, but I'm going to go with it. Absolutely stunning, colour rendition, perfect. Again, this is printed on our smooth cotton paper, so something that's going to just kind of bring things down very slightly, but it has held really, really nicely. Also, I wanted to just look at the detail in the castle, the brickwork here as well, just to see if there, because that would be a real telltale sign of where something could improve. So this one on my right-hand side is printed through Lightroom, and this one here is printed through the professional print and layout. Again, exactly with the same profiles, absolutely everything on the smooth cotton paper. Now I have to say, just looking at them, I can see on this one here on the left, the one through the professional print and layout, I can see a little bit more sharpening going on, or kind of a bit more detail. So it is increasing the sharpening and the contrast in this area here. Also, these peak in the distance, it is just a tiny little bit sharper and just has a little bit more definition. So again, the Crystal Fidelity, I hate saying these things about manufacturers when they get things right, and actually it is working, but it does do what it says on the tin. It is just very slightly defining these areas, which it's got all that lovely data from that Canon camera, then it is just defining that a little bit better for you. But it is going to be just adding a little bit of sharpening in, really, very, very kind of, and a little bit of texture detail and things like that. So it does do what it says on the tin. And I'm not too sure why Canon don't shout about this a little bit more, perhaps. Again, their professional print and layout, great little bit of software. It hasn't just got Crystal Fidelity, and it also has the pattern print capabilities. And if you haven't kind of discovered what the pattern print is, and go back and watch my video on it, it's basically where it will create a test strip for you going down the page of all different variations in contrast and brightness of your picture. So you can hopefully take a lot of the guesswork away from printing. Something no other manufacturer does, but they don't shout about it enough. And I have to say, I've just noticed this telegraph, or this pylon on the left-hand side here, and it is just very, very slightly more defined. I think I should stop using the word sharpen and actually talk about it as in defined. It's just a little bit more defined. Now, that could be a bad thing or a good thing. I personally prefer the Lightroom one. I'm not too sure why. Jack will probably completely disagree with me and put this one, because that is how it looks on the screen, and that's how he shot it through his R5. So, I don't know. It's very, very difficult. Like I said, I'm never a big fan of kind of proving them right and things, but in this case, Canon, well done. You've really done a good job here, really, to be honest. So, if you have it, I think the best thing to do is give this a try, because there's going to be fors and against for it. You might not like it, to be honest. You might think it doesn't do anything, which is absolutely fine. I mean, I've stared at these prints for quite a long time, so it is quite a possibility that my brain is starting to see things. However, I do believe that through the professional print and layout, you are getting a slightly sharper image. However, you can't control what the professional print and layout is doing. It's a little bit like the sharpening option in the drop down in Lightroom. So in there we've got high, like low, standard, higher settings. I'm not too sure what those settings are and things. I did explore them a little bit in one of my sharpening videos, but again, we haven't got much control. It might go way over the top and it might start to look a little bit artifacty. It's not on any of these, but it could do. I'm thinking the detail it's pulled out in there is fabulous. And if it's getting the best out of your camera sensor, if you spent a lot of money on a camera, say the R5, this is going to give you possibly the better print. Possibly, I could say. But that's very arguable as well. I mean, to be honest, if you look at these two here, I'd be more than happy with either of these prints. It's only when I've seen the professional print and layout one side by side with the Lightroom one that this is possibly a little bit sharper. We could say in Lightroom that we could add a little bit of clarity or a little bit of texture or sharpening to this picture to make it look like this. But this is kind of doing it for us, and it is really kind of making the image pop a little bit more as well. Very slight though. It is such a tiny, very, very slight effect. And like I said, it might not be for everyone. So, hope that's kind of been useful. And it's something that most people were not really aware of. I wasn't until I was presented it by Canon and was thinking about it. And I haven't really thought about it since, to be honest. It was only when Jack came in last week to do a bit of filming that we started talking about it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's been on my radar for a while, and I really need to sit down and do a video on it and actually see myself if there is any difference in the two. And I have to say, as small and as slight as it is, there is a difference. So, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the Fotospeed YouTube channel and just click that subscribe button. And also, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter, which will give you exclusive discounts and keep you up on all the news from us here at Fotospeed. And also don't forget to download our Fotospeed Art of Printing that will cover everything you need to know about printing, from turning on your printer to framing to mounting to bookmaking. So, on that note, a little bit of a short one this week, but I'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.